最后，让我们欢迎 Hailo 商务开发副总经理 Mr. Liran Bar 为我们介绍人工智慧的实际应用。Welcome, Mr. Bar.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for hosting us. I'm the VP of Business Development here at Hailo. So today I'm going to dedicate around 20 minutes to explain and to share with you what Hailo is doing and how different it is from the other available solution in the market. Next slide. So some words about Hailo. Hailo was established in 2017. We are based in Israel, and our first office outside of Israel is actually in Japan. We have also a lot of activities in Taiwan, and I hope that the next office will be in Taiwan. We have around 100 employees here in Tel Aviv, mostly is R&D. You can see here the list of the companies at the bottom that our team came from. A lot of experience in hardware and also software for many distinguished companies. We have a lot of patents on our technology, and we will talk about it. And also our product won several prizes. You can see on the right side, we have the CS Innovation Award, Gartner Cool Vendor for 2020. And basically our mission was to develop the most efficient deep learning processor for edge devices. So we are not a general purpose processor, and we are not doing training. We are focused on the edge devices where there are a lot of challenges, and we will talk about it. Next slide, please. As we see in the past few years, we see the transition from doing actual intelligence from moving from the cloud to the edge devices. On the cloud, as many companies are doing, there are a lot of issues. The low latency, for example, if your device, the edge device is require a critical mission task, you cannot rely on the latency. Also, there is a power consumption issues. On the cloud, you are paying per hour, and sometimes you want to do that on the edge devices. On the edge device, you have power constraints, for example. Privacy is a very important aspect. If you would like to have the processing done on the edge devices and not to send the data to the cloud. Europe, for example, has the GDPR. So privacy is very important things, and you would like to do the processing on the edge devices. And also the reliability. So overall, transition from the cloud to the edge device. Next slide, please. So deep learning is at the edge is all over. And some of the examples that you see here is pedestrian detection, for example, collision avoidance in ADAS application, passenger control to allocate missing child and so on, and also quality inspection in factories. And this webinar is talking about the COVID-19 situation. Well, this is a great opportunity for companies such as Hailo to adopt the technology that is based on AI. And some of the examples that you see here at the bottom are, for example, smart retail. The fact that you're able to buy glossary without any cashier. Medical robots, so the doctor can still check the patient and give them the necessary things or medicine that they need, or the food, as you can see in this picture, without actual face-to-face contact. Also, the last mile delivery, for example. Many people now under COVID-19 are ordering food or glossaries or those things. So you don't need to go outside, and you have this kind of vehicles that are doing the last mileage and give you the glossary. Also, factories. Factories today, some of them were damaged. Their produce went very slow because of the COVID-19. So the motivation is to go and to do autonomous or automatic factories, for example. And there are many applications for that one. Obviously, we can't cover all of them here. Next slide, please. So let's see what Hailo is doing. The first product that we have is called a Hailo 8. Hailo 8, as we mentioned, is an AI processor for edge devices, and it is quite unique in this area. For example, and we always compare ourselves to available solutions that you can put on the table and that people can integrate. One of the things is that the available solution out there include 2 to 4 TOPS, tera operation. This is actually the horsepower. Well, a single device like Hailo 8 is around 26 tera operation. This is quite a lot to do many applications, and this is in 8-bit. Many of the ASIC or the SoC that you are familiar require external memory. In our case, the architecture, the innovation comes from the architecture, and one of the things that we have is that we don't require external memory. Yes, we do not need external memory. Everything, all the network sits inside the chip itself, from the beginning to the end, and we will talk about it. Sometimes, when you look at the processing on the cloud, you do care about the processing, how many frames per second you're able to do. And you less care about the power consumption. So if you are doing 50,000 images per second in 100 watt, well, it's okay. But on the edge devices, 100 watt is a no-go. On the edge device, we do care about the throughput, but we do care about the power consumption. Therefore, we have a parameter that is called the power efficiency. How many tera operation you're able to do in a single watt. And in the case of Hailo, we are able to do around 3 TOPS per watt across many applications. And this is a measured parameter, not theoretical. While other solutions are limited up to 0.3 tera operation per watt. So it's a very high efficiency across multiple applications. The use case of the Hailo 8 can be as a standalone or a coprocessor. In the case of coprocessor, the end customer can still leverage all the work that was done on the SoC and offload all the tasks related to neural network to the Hailo 8. This is the fastest time to market. Obviously, we are also providing a software, comprehensive software SDK, and we will talk about it later on. And this single device is also targeting automotive applications. Therefore, this device, the Hailo 8, will be automotive certified. Next slide, please. Now, let's compare ourselves to the available solution. We mentioned that the Hailo 8 can go to automotive. One of the available solutions is the NVIDIA Xavier, which can do a lot of things. It includes CPU, GPU, and also hardware accelerator for neural network. It's called NVDLA. Now, as you can see on the left image, you can see the CPU, GPU, the NVIDIA, but you see all the 8 complementary memories surrounded in red. In addition, you need all the PCB as a module. And also on top of that, you have the heatsink. So overall, you have here a module that is very expensive, but let's leave it aside at the moment. Let's compare the area. On the left side, we see the Xavier. Xavier, by the way, is around 30 TOPS, while Hailo 8 is 26 tera operation. On the Hailo 8, we mentioned that there is no external memory. Therefore, the image that you see on the left side is with the correct aspect ratio. You can see here that the difference from an area point of view, it's around X15 better on the area efficiency. Now, obviously, we are not replacing NVIDIA. If you need in your system a very strong host or GPU, then it's fine. But you don't need to take the high-end SoC. Now, let's compare the neural network task. Usually, I like to give an example that with a Swiss knife. Swiss knife can do a lot of things, right? But when you want to cook a meal, you will take a kitchen knife, right, for a specific task. The same things go with a neural network-based application. If you have a heavy lifting task that rely on a neural network, why not to take a dedicated processor for edge devices, run deep learning? And this is what Hailo provides. So here on the right side, you see one of the examples, a common example in the market. This is ResNet 50 classification. You can see at the bottom line that we are comparing same resolution, 8-bit, batch size 1, in the same FPS, although Hailo 8 is able to do much more frame per second. But for the sake of this comparison, we are comparing apple to apple. Now, in the case of NVIDIA Xavier, you can see that this specific task is done while consuming 32 watts, while the Hailo 8 is only 1.7. And remember the power efficiency that we talked. Well, for this specific task, the Xavier is only 0.14 tops per watt. The Hailo 8 is 2.8 tops per watt. This is X20 better on the power efficiency. So overall, you get better efficiency on the area and better efficiency on the power efficiency. Next slide, please. Now, let's compare other tasks and show you the versatility of the Hailo 8 solution. Some of the available solutions out there in the market are tailored for a specific task. But the world of deep learning algorithm is changing so quickly that you need to adopt a technology that can cope with the evolving changes in this area. So what you see here in this slide is a lot of information, and we'll go step by step. On the x-axis, you can actually see 3 different tasks. One is the classification that we talked earlier. This is the ResNet 50. And you can see high FPS with a high power efficiency. The y-axis is the power efficiency. Now, you might ask yourself, okay, I have a system that is able to do smaller resolution like 224 by 224, but with 600 and something FPS. Why do I need this? My sensor is outputting only 30 or 60 FPS. Why do I need this one? So, yes, you are correct. But per the use case, you can utilize the Hailo 8 per the use case that you have. For example, one of the options is to have multiple streams of a lower resolution with a single Hailo device, 10, 20 cameras, and still do it with a single Hailo device. And you will see a demonstration later on with the links that I will provide you. The other alternative is to go to a higher resolution processing. Remember, you have HD or Full HD camera, but the available solutions today are not able to run the video analytics on the full resolution. They have to do the downscale input resolution in order to meet real time. In the case of Hailo, we are able to run it on the full scale. So here we have an example at the center. It's called detection at 720. You can see that we are able to run it at 40 FPS while we have a very high power efficiency. As we go to full HD segmentation, we are able to run it at 40 FPS real time and still high power efficiency. All the network that you see here are the original network. They are not pruned. It means we are not doing the compression. It's the original network. And this is very important to compare apple to apple in terms of hardware. So what you see here, by the way, and you can see here a comparison to NVIDIA and also to Google Edge GPU, and we have also comparison to Myriad X, for example. All of them are based on the same traditional architecture. Hailo is based on a different architecture, and we'll explain it in the next slide. But the bottom line, the message of this slide is that actually the Hailo 8 is very, very versatile for many, many applications. So if now you design your product and it will be in the market 1 year from now or more, then we can assure you that it will be able to cope with the evolving changes in the deep learning algorithm. Next slide, please. Once you will get this slide, you will be able to go into all these links, including the CES 2020, and to see the actual demonstration. So we will not spend any time on that one. Next slide. The Hailo 8 can cope with it's targeting different markets. One of them is the automotive, as we mentioned, can be autonomous when it happens, and also ADAS, front-facing cameras, backwards, surrounded, and so on. Our next market is actually the smart cities, to do the video analytic for safer cities, smart home, and also Industry 4.0, for example. So you need here, as we mentioned, the flexibility to do for different markets, and also scalability. For example, automotive, there are two approaches. One is to put the Hailo 8 next to the camera. So 26-hour operation is good enough for this kind of task. But as you move on to the autonomous driving L3, L4, 5, then you need more than 26-hour operation. So there will be in the autonomous driving in level 5, for example, people are talking about 30 sensors. So in order to cope with that one, you have to offload the task from the central processing unit to a dedicated neural network device like the Hailo. But in this case, you need around 100 TOPS. How do you achieve it? So with Hailo 8 is very, very easy. Why? Because you are able to cascade several Hailo 8 like a Lego with the chip-to-chip connectors. And for example, to achieve the 100 TOPS, you are able to connect 4 Hailo 8. There is no limitation actually on that one. So imagine 4 Hailo 8 without any external memory. The footprint of that one is quite small compared to other solutions that you need the heatsink, you need also the memory, so it's becoming a very large solution. So flexibility and scalability. Let's move to the next slide. During March this year, we actually completed round B from a financial point of view. Obviously, with the existing investors, we have this time two strategic investors. One of them is NSC Corporation from Japan that actually can read what they are saying about Hailo, about the technology, about the team, which is very important. And this is targeting all kind of security application, and they will integrate Hailo solution into their product. The second strategic investor is ABB. They are one of the largest industrial and also robotic companies. And also them evaluated our technology and are very eager to integrate Hailo solution to their product. Next slide. Well, this webinar is for Taiwanese companies. So in Taiwan, in the past year and a half, we did a lot of work. We cannot disclose all the activities that we are doing, but we are happy to share with you the latest collaboration that we have with Foxconn and also with the Japan company Socionex. As you can see on the left side, this partnership actually brings Socionex state-of-the-art host with a very good ISP, and this is one of the best hosts that we worked with. And inside there is also the Hailo 8. So this device that you see on the left side is called the Boxy Edge. This is the brand name by Foxconn. Foxconn is the integrator in this case, and they own this Boxy Edge. Basically, what is this Boxy Edge? If, for example, we gave an example of smart retail store, where you have, for example, Amazon Go store, include 300 cameras. So instead of putting for every device a camera, AI processor, with this kind of device, you are able to connect around 20 cameras, as we mentioned earlier, and to process them in a single Hailo device. So this is the best cost-effective solution that you can have. This can go to smart cities, this can go to factories, this can go to other devices, industry 4.0 and other use cases. So you saw the strategic investor that we have, also the collaboration that we have with Foxconn and Socionex, really that gives a lot of credibility of companies that already evaluate Hailo technology. And we hope to share with you more information in the future once it will become public. So now, one of the questions that you may ask, we understand the benefit that we are able to give, that Hailo is able to provide us in different markets. But how you are able to achieve this kind of performance? Next slide. So when we are looking at a neural network task, without going into too much detail because we don't have much time here, we can leverage a lot of the characterization of neural network. For example, there is a lot of information going from one layer to another. So every time that you go outside of the chip, you pay to external memory, you pay with the power and latency. And obviously, unlike other solution, accelerator, hardware accelerator, that they have a fixed pipeline, which is configurable, but still, fixed pipeline. You have activation, and you have obviously the convolution, activation, pooling, and so on. But if the topology of the neural network changes, then the efficiency of this hardware accelerator becomes lower. In the case of Hailo, what you see here in this slide is actually when we open the neural network, you see this kind of unique matrix. This matrix includes three pillars. One is the compute element, one is the memory, and one is the control. As you can see, there is no one block of memory or control. Everything is distributed in a very efficient way inside the chip itself. And it's very, very flexible. Next slide. So from a user point of view, how this work is done. I mean, on one hand, we have the neural network that was trained on a 32-bit. And on the other hand, you have device like Hailo 8 on the embedded. Now, we provide a tool, the SDK that we mentioned earlier, that is able to analyze the neural network in offline. For example, you see here an application that utilizes, for example, a neural network with 8 layers. In offline, for each one of those layers, you can see that we are creating the resource graph in the center. For every layer, we ask ourselves, what are the resources that are needed out of those 3 pillars that we mentioned earlier that are needed in order to execute this layer. And then at the bottom, you can see actually the deployment of the network inside the core itself, the NN core. So what you can see here is that, for example, layer 1 sits next to layer 2 and layer 3. We want everything to be close to each other. Obviously, this is illustration. But the motivation is to have everything close to each other. So the neural network sits inside the chip from the beginning to the end, doesn't go outside. Different network will be mapped differently on the device. So as you can see here, the hardware is very, very flexible, and we can cope with any neural network that you will bring. It's not a hardware fixed pipeline. There are many, many benefits of that one that we cannot disclose at this stage, and we'll be happy to discuss with you face to face. Next slide. So my last slide here is actually to explain where we stand today. As of today, August 2020, we have the samples available already in the hands of dozens of customers from different market segments: automotive, tier 1, OEM, smart cities, industry 4.0, as you can see earlier, and so on and so on. Everyone, all the big companies that evaluate Hailo 8 were very, very impressed, and they verify all the claims that we showed here on the slide. Some of them were able, all of them actually, were able to deploy their network and also to go to the next stage, which is a POC, proof of concept, connecting this one to their existing project. Now, we mentioned earlier that we raised during March around $60 million US. So we have around $19 million US by now. This will help us to go into the market, to go to production, which we expect second half of this year, and also obviously to develop our next generation of the Hailo product. So this was my last slide. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will be happy later on to get your question and answer that one. Later on, you will be able to see in the links that I provide you the demonstration, the real-time demonstration that we have. Obviously, every time we have a new one. And you're also welcome to visit Hailo website, hailo.ai. So thank you very much, TAITRA, for inviting us to this webinar. Thank you to our friends here in Israel, and looking forward to talk with you again. Thank you very, very much.